Hello and welcome to this presentation. My name is Lee Snyder, the product manager for the steel segment here at TechLink. And what I'll be showing is a quick tutorial of the new extension available for download on the Tekla warehouse. It's called the Fireproofing Calculator. I'll just go ahead and launch that. Once you install, you'll see this new toolbar. I'll just click on that to launch the actual calculator. And then within this tool, what you have are three different sections that you can set to get the proper output. So the first part is the fireproofing options, where you'll define a reference profile, a rating system thickness, and then you have two options here for the calculation mode, one using the column and one using the beam. So all of our fireproofing calculations are based off of this website here. If you go to isolatech.com, then that's basically where we have these calculation settings that we have. And then within here, they define reference profiles, and then based on that profile and the rating system thickness, that's going to determine a ratio that's going to be applied to all of the different profiles that you have within the model. And then, as I mentioned here, we have two different calculation modes, one for the beam, one for the column. So the beam calculation, when we calculate the perimeter of the beam, we're just going to use the three sides, assuming that the fourth side is covered by concrete. And then with the column for the perimeter calculation, we're using all four sides. If you scroll down here and take a look here, they have listed within here their reference profiles and then the settings or the calculations that they have based on those. So that's basically just what we've done here. So I'm using the 8x28 and then just using the 1 3/16 fireproofing rating. So then when I run that on an 8x8, that's what the fireproofing thickness will be. And then that will also be used as a ratio for any other profile that's defined there. If I come in and set this option to beam, then I have the option to come in here and calculate the flute and to clear any existing flute attributes that may be in there. So if you want, I have in the help file this a reference to this document here, this website, that you can go and check it out and view all the other calculations and that sort of thing. So back here to calculating the flute, if we wanted to do that, what I've done here in the models, I've just put in just one example here of the decking. So let's go ahead and take a look at this here. So if I zoom in here, I have this just looking straight at it here, and then also in this 3D view. So if I pull a dimension here, this whole area is going to need to be filled with the fireproofing for each of these individual areas, okay, where it wouldn't just be straight concrete right on top of the beam. So we're going to come in and calculate the width of the flange and then the height of the flute, basically for the entire length of the member, to tell you what the overall volume will be for that particular area. All right. So here, what I have is set my reference profile. I'm just using the 8x28. I have 1 3/16, so we can do this beam calculation. And then here I can come in and just define what the flute height will be based upon this profile. It's 1.5 inches, so I'm just going to go in and set that up. And then here I have Uda assignments, so basically Uda syntax of where you want to store these values. So within the tool, I've created an objects IMP file that just has this fireproofing tab, and it will store the flute volume, and then it will store the fireproofing thickness. So the thickness will be stored in inches. The flute will also be stored in inches if you have the XS_imperial set to true. If it's set to false, then it's going to give you the value in millimeters. So let's go ahead and open this guy back up, and then here I can run it on multiple members. I'm just going to run it on this one. I'll just go ahead and click calculate, and that will go in, run the calculation, store the values there in the user defined attributes. And I'll just change this to column. You'll notice that I won't have the flute options once I switch it to column, and then it'll just calculate to store that value as well. So now let's just go ahead and double click and open this up. If I come to the fireproofing, then here I see in inches cubed the volume that will be needed to fill the flute along the length of that, and then the fireproofing thickness that has then been calculated. And if I double click on the column and check the same, Obviously there'll be no flute, and then it'll be the fireproofing thickness, and we're storing this down to the 1/28. If you don't need it that accurate, or if you don't want, that's not a problem. Just set your rounding or your tolerance in your template editor so that when you run a report, you can round it to the nearest 16th or 1/8 inch or whatever the case may be there. All right. So just to show you how that's running here, I have an 8 by 28 here within the model. So if I just click on that to calculate, so I'll set this to beam, and then we can clear any existing values that were there. And then just to double check it, that based on using this as the reference profile, that should be the exact number there, so we know everything's checking out okay. And then the ratio that's being used for all the other members is in relation to the reference profile and the rating system thickness defined here within the tool. So like I said, this is available for download on the Tekla warehouse. There's a help file included. There's also a forum page. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to us. And we hope you enjoy this new development.